In this video, we are going to cover the table components inside the Forms and Tables UI system. And what we're going to do is build out a responsive table. So I've included the basic table as a component. I've included table columns as a component. And we have filters, and then we have the table cell. I always like to start off from the most elemental component, which is the table cell, to build out the tables. But if you just need something really quick to mock a UI up, you have these built out components. So just to give you a preview of that, if I drag out one of the columns, I can go ahead and just start duplicating this, and then we can wrap this in an auto layout, and then make sure everything is filling the container, each one of the columns. And all of a sudden you have a responsive table. You can go ahead and customize this. You could have this the progress, we could have it stars, whatever you need. But in this video, we're gonna investigate the table component and all of its properties by looking at the table cell. So in the table cell, it's the basic building block. We could turn it into a header. We can go ahead and change the background color. We can have it be a number. The text is a tabular typeface, which is great for numbers. It makes it much easier to parse. We can toggle the avatar. This is a nested component, so we have access to changing the avatar here. We could also go ahead and change the photo inside. We can add back our text, and we could write a name or whatever content you need there. We could add secondary text, could write their email. We have the badge, and again, this is a nested component, so you can change it, and then you can change the text, add from the properties. We have the icon left, icon right. We have the input, and we could turn this input into a selector if we wanted to by just changing some of these properties and changing the text. We have checkbox. We can make this different sizes. We can change it to selected, whatever you want to do. We have the radio. We have the button. We have sparkline. And then we have like a rating scale with stars, progress bar, and then we can also indent things. So if I have text, but I want to indent it, we can do so. And then we have the replace with component. And so you could create your own component and then click into this and just replace it, swap it out. Okay, so let's build a responsive table. So I'm going to drag out this table cell, and then I'm just going to duplicate that a number of times. And now here we have our column. So this first column, we're gonna just duplicate all of this. Let's wrap these in auto layout. So Shift A and then Shift A. Make sure everything is filling, which it is. And so this one is gonna be the checkbox. And we'll go to the checkbox, we'll get rid of the text, and then we'll resize this column. Okay, so this is going to be our data column. We'll change this first one to a header, and then let's create a sparkline. So we'll select everything except for the header, and we'll get rid of the text. We'll add a sparkline. Okay, the next column we'll do a avatar. So just continuing on, and you can add whichever one that you would like. In this case, I'm going to have the text with the avatar. Looks good. And then go ahead and continue to play around with the different columns, changing the table cell to make whatever you see fit. Okay, so now we have all of our columns. You can go and rename things. You could add data. I typically like to use the Faker plugin. So we could go ahead and select all of these numbers, and we could go in with the Faker plugin and we can look for numbers. You can also look for names, all types of information to input. We can go ahead and change the buttons. We could make these say save, change the text. We can make them green. So whatever you want to do. And now we're going to select all of our columns and put in an auto layout. So Shift A, we're going to get rid of the space in between them. And we are going to make them all fill. So we're going to click in, make sure the columns are selected and do fill container. So now they are all filling the container and we have a responsive table. We can give it a fill color. We can come in and customize each one of the headers with a different color to distinguish them. And of course you would change the name from header to whatever you want to match the column. So we'll do off-white here. So that's looking good. However, there's this extra space. So everything is spaced out the same because it is a responsive table and each column is filling the width. But what we're going to do with the first one is we're just going to drag it out. So this is going to be a fixed width. As you can see here, it's fixed. It's not hugging. It's not filling. And now the table is still responsive, but that first column is going to stay fixed. So you could actually do that for every single column as long as there is one column that is filling. That will keep the responsive nature of the table. So let's say the number is the one that's going to fill. All you need is one, and then it will still be responsive, which can be very helpful for building out various sizes of UI from mobile all the way up to a large desktop. You don't always have to do everything in columns. So for instance, if you want rows that are selectable, for instance, and the whole row becomes selected, you could do things in rows. So you could go add this auto layout. You could then make this a component and then make a variant. And this variant would be the selected version, and you could give it a fill color of like a light blue. You could change this first one to the checkbox. So we'll have the checkbox, and since this is the selected version, we could have this selected. And then in the prototype, you could have that change. So when the user clicks, it goes here, and when they click again, it goes back. And then you can just drag this out and we can make our table this way. So let's duplicate this a few times and let's wrap it in an auto layout. And now let's preview what this would look like. So when the user clicks to select, it selects. Lastly, we have the filter. We have the different sizes and states. So this filter, the idea is you would click it, you would see a drop down. So you could add one of the drop downs, and then it would be a selection would be made. And then if 3 are selected, we could denote, it would be denoted here. We could also change this to what the selection is. Let's say user type. So that is tables. In the next video, we are going to cover the list component.